Recently, I took the time to work out what exact milestones and progressions I'll have to need over the next 4 years for me to qualify for LA 2028 to accomplish one aspect of my running quest. I also worked out the 5 habits that I must complete consistently every day over the next 4 years to achieve this quest, which I'll discuss later in this video. First, I'll give a training update towards this quest. And just a heads up, I've recently just had a cold, so forgive me for my voice sounding a bit odd, but as a coworker mentioned to me, it's only increased my aura and riz. So, great. So for the past 3 weeks, I've been dealing with a niggle in my right hamstring, just a little strain on the right side, which prevented me from doing any acceleration, especially on Sundays when I do speed. So this first occurred when I wore my spikes for the first time in 6 months. And since it's getting near to the start of the athletics season in Oz, being October, which as of the recording of this video, it's on now, we're starting to incorporate more of us wearing spikes into our sessions so then we can condition our body to the impact of wearing spikes can have on your body, and so then you're more accustomed to the impact and also the feeling of what it's like to wear spikes. So the ones I wore were my race pair, the Saucony Cheetahs, which are known to be really aggressive and are strictly designed for race day because they have minimum support, etc., all optimized for race conditions. Now, I do have a training pair that I normally run in, but silly me, I misplaced them and I had to opt for my race pair, which obviously was not very good for me as it was too much too soon for my body to handle, as clearly my body wasn't ready for it and it led to this strain. So what I had to do to resolve it was I had to do some extra strength and conditioning for my hamstrings. And I also had to not stretch them as much as I normally do because that was only making the strain even worse in my experience. Because as my coach explained it to me, what happens when you run is when your muscles are working, it's like when you lift weights and everything like that to a certain degree, where as you run and you're using your muscles, your leg muscles, you start to create some little tears in your muscles, which then lengthens it a bit, just like this. So how strain can form is if you wear it down, too much, and then now, it's a little bit more scarred than it normally is. And so by me stretching it, I'm only stretching them more apart and just making the tears even bigger and bigger instead of giving it time to repair and build back stronger. So one of the exercises that my coach prescribed to me to fix this problem was to do one-legged hamstring bridges for 3 sets, and on each leg I would hold it for 30 seconds. And man, 30 seconds is a long time. And I also added in some leg curls too, as every time I would do them, afterwards, my right hamstring always felt much more better from doing it. So that was something interesting as well. Now, on a positive note, I have been noticing some improvements, some signs that are indicating to me that I'm in a much more fitter position than I was around this time last year, coming into the last athletic season. Similar to this in late August, I did a 600-meter time trial, which I talked a bit in a previous video that I made on this channel, which you can check right there, my Running Quest Part 3 episode, which you can learn a little bit more there. So watch that. But Some other signs that I've noticed is, so recently on the 22nd of September, I did a 400-meter time trial at the end of a speed workout, which consisted of 4 times 60 meters and 4 times 150 meters. And after all that effort, which it was at fast intensities, I ran a 55-second 400 with a strong headwind at the last 100 meters. Now, I wasn't running this quick until November last year. So once again, I'm seeing proof that my fitness is at a whole new level than when I came into last season with. Now, another thing to add on to that too is the week afterwards, I was doing a workout again, a speed session. It was 4 times 150 meters and 4 times 200 meter reps. Now, for the 200 meter reps, I ran 26, 25, 25, 26. So once again, I wasn't running 200s that quick until November last season. So for me, I'm super excited coming into this next season being in a place of greater fitness, because I'm so excited to really see what's in store for me. Now, for the main topic of this video, so what are the milestones I'll have to hit each year to achieve my running quest? So from watching interviews and podcasts of Olympians and world-class athletes such as Jakob Ingebrigtsen, Josh Kerr, and Michael Johnson, I noticed that what they all have in common is a clear vision of what they are working towards achieving. Whether that be Jakob to hold 7 distance world records, Josh Kerr to win the gold medal in the 1500 meters, and Michael being the best sprinter in history. And they all know exactly how they're going to achieve it and the progressions that they have to make each year to achieve it. And I realized that if I seek to achieve my own quest, I'll have to break down my running quest into yearly milestones for me to hit, to know if I'm on track to achieving it. Another benefit I thought from doing this is it makes your big quest less intimidating when you break it down into smaller periods, as it makes it super clear the steps that you have to take for you to achieve. So one quick insight that I also got from listening to one of the interviews of Josh Kerr was, before Brook B sponsored him, they did some research into him as an athlete and what milestone progression that they believe he is capable of achieving all the way up until he achieves his gold medal. And at the time, he was ahead of their schedule, which only gave them more confidence to keep him on and determine that he was a worthy investment to be made. So I thought, why don't I do something similar for me? So for me to qualify for the 2028 LA Olympics, I'll have to run at least a 1:44-minute 800. Now, how I'm getting that figure is just based off previous Olympics, as 144-minute 800 is typically a competitive time for the 800 meters, and they're still in the beginning stages of organizing the LA Olympics, considering that they just finished Paris 2024. But that's the marker that I'm going to be aiming to hit over the 4 years. Once I determined that, I worked out how many seconds that I'll have to take off my current PB each year towards it. So currently, my PB is 1:57.50 minutes that I did last season. So over the course of 4 years, I worked out that I had to take off 13.5 seconds off my PB. That works out to be 3.375 seconds per year. So I took it a step even further and then worked out what exact times I would have to run for the 800 each year, and it goes as follows. So for this upcoming season of 2024 to 2025, I'll have to qualify for nationals, which that's my goal for this year. And I'll have to run a sub 154 800. For the next season, I'll have to run for 2025 to 2026 season. I'll have to run a sub 150.66 minutes. For the next season after that, for 2026 to 2027, I'll have to run a sub 147.33 minutes. Then for the next season, which this will be coming into LA, for 2027 to 2028, I would have to run a sub 144 minutes to qualify for LA 2028. And while I was at it too, I also worked out how many seconds I would have to improve on my PB to qualify for Brisbane 2032. And Australia, which that's the one I'm the most definite on working towards to achieve, which is the most important running quest for me to achieve, as it's in home soil, which doesn't come around that often. So over 8 years, I will have to drop 1.68 seconds minimum to qualify for these games, which is so doable, even more. So I've talked about what the exact milestones I'll have to hit towards this quest. Now, what is the exact game plan that I have towards making this a possibility, making this happen? Well, now that I've made the journey towards achieving this quest more clear for myself, I thought that it's just as important now to work out the key habits I'll have to consistently do to make those improvements on my PB. So it goes from highest priority to lowest priority as follows. So number 1, training full time, never missing a session for anything except for sickness, oh shit, of course, etc. This is because it's the only way that I'm going to get fitter, to improve on my PB. This is done by preventing injury, preventing sickness, and minimizing trips needed to take that would disrupt my training, such as me going to Aubrey and back, aka my hometown, where I'll have to be training by myself. So number 2, recovery from the training, so that I can absorb as much of the training that I can, and this is done by getting 9 hours sleep, getting the right amount of micronutrients, so right protein, right carbs, right fats that the body needs, and doing mobility work to release the built-up tension in the body. And number 3, creating content on this YouTube channel to build up an audience by documenting and telling my story whilst providing insights from what I learn along the way. This will, I hope, attract sponsors, to which will in turn allow me to do all of this full time and not have to work another job just like my competitors. So this is done by uploading a minimum twice a month long format videos like this and shorts twice a day, which I'm getting there. Number 4, working jobs to earn money to pay the bills and keep my head above the water. Now, this is done by way of casual employment or by picking up a full-time job with hours that don't conflict with my training. Number 5, to read books, listen to podcasts, etc. to continue to develop or to improve all my existing habits and skills on how to do them. Now for an action step that you can take from this video. For your running quest, work out what exactly it is that you desire to achieve, and then break it down into smaller yearly or even monthly milestones that you will have to achieve to make sure that you're on track to accomplishing it. Now, if you got something out of this video and you want to support me on my running quest, then you can do so by hitting the subscribe button, dropping that like and leaving a comment down below. And you can also check out my Instagram and Strava where I post more content relating to my journey towards achieving this running quest. Now, as always, it's never too late to start your dreams.